In 1969, I was a child. I am not a Libyan. I have never been to Libya. So I cannot tell you in 1969 what the Libyan people wanted. But I can tell you as a human being what the Libyan people received. I can tell you as a scholar what they received. And as a human being, I can tell you what they did not want. The Libyan people did not want what they got. They did not want a dictator. They did not want the mad dog of the Middle East. They do not want murder and tyranny. They don't want to hear any more mothers cry. They don't want to see any more women and children raped. They don't want to see anyone else in prison. In 1969, that is not what the Libyan people thought they were getting. But today, in 2009, that is what the Libyan people have received. When Muammar Gaddafi took control of Libya, that was too much power for one man. All that power, coupled with control, caused him to be a dictator. He has run Libya with a strong hand and the aid of his little green book. And according to that green book, that it has no basis in Islamic law, but it is according to Gaddafi's law. That book is what thus said Gaddafi. And if you don't live by that book, you will die. But he's not running the country. But today, in 2009, in Libya, there is no constitution. There is no Bill of Rights. There are no checks and balances in Libya. There's Gaddafi, his friends, and his family. And they run Libya. They control Libya, with him as the head. He has supported terrorism around the world. He supported the IRA. He was responsible and financed the terrorism behind the Lockerbie bombing of Flight 203, Pan Am Flight 203. In the Lockerbie bombing, 270 people died. He sponsored the bombing of the German discotheque, La Belle's, where 229 people were injured and 3 people died. He sponsored the bombing of UTA Flight 772, where 170 people died. He supports people who are known for human rights violation, who are today being watched by Amnesty. In the Abu Salim prison, he sanctioned the murder in the Abu Salim prison of 1,200 men, and he tried to hide it. He supported Saddam Hussein, the very Saddam Hussein from Iraq who was brought to justice and hanged. His daughter, Aisha, was the attorney for Saddam Hussein at his trial. He had his own daughter try to get that murderer off. Gaddafi supports Charles Taylor, who was responsible for the death of 200,000 people in 1989. Then later, with the aid of Gaddafi, another 11,000 when Gaddafi sent his troops, Libyan troops, to Liberia to help Charles Taylor stop an insurrection. Libyan troops killed 11,000 people. And in the 90s, another 50,000 were killed by Charles Taylor, all supported by Gaddafi, the mad dog of the Middle East. Gaddafi supports Robert Mugabe. Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe, another human rights violator and a murderer. The murderer who was responsible for 30,000 children being snatched from their mothers, their fathers, to form a child army. Actually, to date, is between 30 and 60,000 children have been taken from their homes. And this child army has been forced into war against their own families, against their own neighbors, to murder and to kill children as young as 8 years of age. The girls are being raped, the boys are being raped, they're being brutalized, murdered when they won't fight. But Gaddafi says this is okay. He doesn't have a problem with this. In Chad and Uganda, he has kept the wars going. In Darfur, he has supported the murders and the genocide financially and at times with his own military. But financially, he has supported the murders in Darfur. Over 2.7 million people have been displaced and are homeless in Darfur. When Eritrean refugees and Somalian refugees fled to Libya, he said, come to Libya. Come, I'll protect you. He lied. That was for the cameras. This is what Libya has lived under. This is the terror Libya has lived under. This is the lack of freedom Libyans have lived under. How much are the Libyan people asked to take? How much should the continent of Africa have to take? This year in 2009, Gaddafi took an Islamic holiday. An Islamic holiday. He took Eid al-Ahad, that is celebrated on the 27th of November, and changed it to the 26th of November. Why? To build alliances. The 26th of November was for Thanksgiving. And he took an Islamic holiday and put it on Thanksgiving to align himself. He wants to buy associations. He wants to buy his way back. He was losing money because the sanctions that were brought out against his country caused him to lose money. In 2009, he's trying to buy a whole new image. He's speaking truth with murderous intent. Forget what he's doing, because the blood of the Lockerbie bomb victims cries out. The blood of Yvonne Fletcher cries out. The blood of the 1,200 men at Abu Salim prison cries out. The blood of the refugees from Eritrea cries out. The blood of the Somalians cries out. The blood of the 2.7 million families displaced from Darfur cries out. The blood from Chad cries out. The blood from the victims of Idi Amin cries out. The blood from the victims of Zimbabwe cries out. They deserve justice.